Hello, my name is Thanat Chookajoorn from Mahidol University and MIMS. I'm delighted to share my thoughts on running a genomic surveillance program in Southeast Asia, and most important of all, our experience in working with local partners to generate impacts. The work shown to you has been made possible by my colleagues at COVID-19 Network Investigation Alliance, or CONI. We are grateful for the support from our public health partners and funders. At the start of the pandemic in early 2020, a group of researchers with links to Thailand formed a team to do genomic surveillance for the country. We work with local hospitals and health officials to run surveillance and to assist in outbreak investigations. The data was analyzed by the high-performance supercomputer platform at TIC, and it has been our policy that every sequence with sufficient quality will immediately and automatically be shared on GIS8. We also run a local next-strain builds specific to Thailand and Southeast Asia. This is to allow scientific and healthcare communities to visualize the evolving genomic repertoires in real time. Of course, the work allows us to see the important events into the country. It also reveals the lineage compositions of SARS-CoV-2 in Thailand. I'm sure that in the training material from COG-UK, you will be able to learn about these useful tools, but the focus of my presentations is on how to generate impacts using genomic surveillance data. And from our experience, the genomic size shown in the last two slides are important, but to guarantee impacts, it is inevitably important to work on what the local health communities need. Running an outbreak investigation is perhaps a low-hanging fruit. I'm sure that by now, those of you who studied the material could see that genomic sequencing reveals more than the types of variant. It could show the connectivity over time of cases. This is very helpful in tracking highly contagious SARS-CoV-2. Working with the local health officials, we combined the genomic and epi data to track the events leading to an outbreak at a quarantine facility in Bangkok by identifying which individuals were the source of the outbreak and track how the virus got transmitted. More importantly, the resolution provided by genomic data allows to see what is the weakness in the system, which leads to the changes in policy, improving the work conditions of healthcare workers at a quarantine facility in Thailand. And there is another example, perhaps on a larger scale. And this comes from our commitment for a quick turnaround time and immediate data sharing. So after about 1 year of running surveillance, it has been known in the community that we routinely perform surveillance, and our data sharing standard is also known to the community. When a local health official suspected an unusual cluster in the most southern part of Thailand, we were approached to join the investigation. We flagged a cluster of beta in Thailand, and we suspected that they were likely to come from Malaysia, but it was not surprising that for the disease like COVID, the report of beta would be politically and scientifically scrutinized. But by having a clear standard of how to release the data and how to analyze and how to share them on this aid. It allows everyone to see that this the beta cluster, they seem to come from another country, not from the quarantine, and we could link the source and the chains of transmission. It allows the public health resource to be allocated in time, and within less than 24 hours, a lot of health were sent to the region, and we are proud to say that the beta variant was the only VOC identified to have a local transmission that was largely contained in Thailand, thanks to the dedication of the local community and healthcare workers. And the final example is my favorite one, is a cluster at a market at the outskirts of Bangkok called the Ponpat. So let me give you some background. This market, red circle here, it is located very close to the biggest transportation hub in Thailand, the Green Box. And you can see that they're very close. And in January of 2021, there was a cohort there that got controlled very quickly. But later, in February, a month later, a new outbreak arose, a bigger one even. And at the time, it was suspected that the transportation of merchandise from other provinces might be the source of the second outbreak. We were asked to join the investigation, and we compared the populations in January and February, keeping in mind that we also tracked the surveillance data at the population scale as well. And we found that the virus causing the outbreak in February was in fact the direct progeny of those from the outbreak in January. Basically, there is a hidden reservoir there. When we share the information to the public health authorities, it became clear to everyone that this second peak, the bigger one, was likely to come from the populations of people who did not get tested in the first round. And the reason was this market, people working there, people living in the vicinity, they need the market to work, to survive. It might be a foreign concept for some of us to understand that these folks, they need to work to be able to get food for to their family on every particular day. So they must work. And they were afraid that if they get tested, if they were found to be positive, the market will remain shut down. And it takes the local health officials, the local authorities to go door to door to meet these people, to share with them that it is the government's goal as well to reopen the market, to convince them that they need to come out to get checked, because that is the only way that everyone can help one another to open the market again. And you can see that with this big cluster, when the launch happened, is the more people can get tested. It came down, and you can see that we have this graph here showing the linkage of this population, but it's meaningless without these people on the left who engage the public to convince people that they need to come out. Genomic surveillance data is important. It acts like a map, but it depends on the people, to the authorities, to the public to work together to contain COVID-19. And I would like to end by mentioning that to do genomic surveillance, it means that one has to interact with multiple partners, with multiple organizations. I'm sure that during that process, you would hear these words shown here. And it's important to keep in mind that people that it's always about the people. Buildings, organizations cannot talk, cannot demand something. So we need to be patient, be kind to people who work there, because the concept of data sharing may not be something that they're used to. And if we are kind and stick to scientific and ethical standards, some people will start to appreciate the importance of data sharing, transparency, and good data QC. And when some of those people start to become the converts, then it's our job to help them achieve their goal and to generate impacts. And I'm counting, we are counting on every one of you. It has been clear that the only way for the humanity to get out of this the pandemic is to not leave anyone behind. And your contribution to genomic surveillance will be important. Thank you for your time and attention. Feel free to say hello when we meet at the end of the pandemic. Thank you.